All right, so today this is what we would call lesson 6.2, equivalent ratios and multiplication tables. This is in our ratios and proportional relationships unit. And so the first thing I want you to see, the multiplication table down here can be a little bit confusing. So if it helps you, great, but if not, just listen to what I'm explaining. Equivalent ratios are two ratios that have the same relationship between the two numbers. And so if one of my numbers is 1/6 and my other number is 2/12, we can cross multiply. 6 times 2 is 12, and 12 times 1 is 12, and we can see that those two ratios are equivalent. So the same relationship is happening between them. If we look at this chart right here, this table, the original ratio is there are 6 apples in one basket. So 6 apples per basket. Now, if I have 2 baskets, that means I'm going to have my 6 apples from my original plus 6 more apples, so that gives me 12. My third basket, I'm going to have those 12 apples plus 6 more apples, and so on and so forth. And so we can see, we write our ratio, if it's baskets to apples, 1 basket to 6 apples is the same thing as 2 baskets to 12 apples, or 5 baskets to 30 apples. So we can write it as a ratio with this little colon in there, or we can also write them as fractions. 1 basket to 6 apples, 2 baskets to 12 apples, 5 baskets to 30 apples. They're all equivalent ratios. So when we look at these equivalent ratios, let's look at an example. A certain shade of purple paint is created by mixing the correct ratio of blue and red paint. Every time a batch is mixed, the ratio of blue to red paints is recorded in the table. But one of the batches in the table below is made incorrectly. Which batch is not the same as the others? So which batch has a different ratio? Well, if I look at blue gallons to red gallons, and instead of writing it like this, blue gallons to red gallons, instead I write it like this, blue gallons to red gallons. Then all I'm doing is dividing the number of blue gallons by the number of red gallons. So in my first one, 8 divided by 4 gives me 2, or a ratio of 2 to 1. In my second one, 4 divided by 2 gives me 2, or a ratio of 2 to 1. My next one, 5 divided by 9. Well, it's definitely not going to give me 2. So I think that that's going to be my wrong one. But let's check last one just to be sure. 16 divided by 8 gives me 2, or a ratio of 2 to 1. So this batch number 3 is the one that does not have the 2 to 1 ratio. Let's do some practice problems together. Number 1, lemonade is made by combining water with sugar and lemon juice. The table shows the amount of sugar necessary to make certain amounts of lemonade. Find the missing value in the table. So they're wanting us to find that value right there. Well, again, we are looking at ratios, right? So if I'm talking about the ratio of sugar to water, then I can also write it 3 cups of sugar to 1 gallon of water, or I can write it as a fraction, 3 to 1. And if they are equivalent, which they are because the ratio is the same, then 3 over 1 is the same as x over 2. And now I have 2 fractions that are equivalent, so I can cross multiply. 3 times 2 is 6, and x times 1 is x. So it should be 6. Number 4, in a certain granola mix, there are 3 cups of rolled oats for every 2 cups of raisins. Which of the following ratios are equivalent to the ratio of raisins to rolled oats? So the first thing I do is I write this out as a ratio. Raisins to rolled oats. But I can also write it as a fraction, which is what my answers are in. Raisins to rolled oats. So in this way, every 2 cups of raisins goes with 3 cups of oats. So I need one of these fractions to be the same as 2 over 3. Well, 2 over 3 is not the same as 3 over 2. Trying to think of an easy way. I mean, the easiest way to do it is just to cross multiply everything and see. So 3 over 2 to 2 over 3, that gives me 9 equals 4. No, so that's not right. 6 over 4 to 2 over 3 gives me 18 to 8. So that's not right either. 3 over 4 to 2 over 3 gives me 9 to 8. Not right. 6 over 9 to 2 over 3 gives me 18. So it's that one. You can also just look at this. I'm struggling with how to explain this to you when I can't see you. When I look at these fractions, I realize, especially as I look at 6 over 9, if I factor that out, then I can cancel out those guys. And that shows me 6 over 9 equals 2 over 3. So that's another way to do it if you feel comfortable just eyeballing it that much. Okay, one more in this set. On this page. Number 6. A student is interested in purchasing pens in bulk to get ready for school. That means you're purchasing a lot of pens and hopefully getting them for a cheaper price than if you would just purchase one pen at a time. 3 stores are offering different sizes of packages containing the pens the student wants. The table shows the offers. So store A, you can pay $3.60 to get 3 pens. Store B, you can pay $8 to get 8 pens. Store C, you can pay $5 to get 4 pens. List the stores in order from worst deal to best deal for purchasing pens. Well, if we're trying to figure out the best value, right? We want best price per pen. Remember this per, that means we've got dollars up here and number of pens down here. So if I take $3.60 and I divide it by 3, that gives me 1 pen costs $1.20. If I take $8 and divide it by 8, 1 pen costs $1. If I take $5 and divide it by 4, then 1 pen costs $1.25. So in this scenario, store C has the worst because I'm paying $1.25 for 1 pen. Store A is the next because I'm paying $1.20 for 1 pen. Store B is the best deal because I'm only paying $1 for 1 pen. So that would be letter D. Okay, on the next page, let's try number 7 together. Which of the following are equivalent ratios? Remember, if something is an equivalent ratio, then if I cross multiply, then the numbers will be the same. So if I have A over B as one of my ratios and X over Y as another one of my ratios, then A times Y is going to equal B times X. So if I go through and I do this, then I have 63 to 36. That does not equal, so A is wrong. I have 45 to 40. That does not equal, so B is wrong. I have 24 to 24. So C is right, but let's check D just to be sure. 140 to 133. That does not equal, so that one is wrong. So 7 is C. Okay, then my last one, 6 over 7 equals Y over 35. I'm just doing the same thing. I'm cross multiplying again. So 7Y equals 210, and then I'm going to divide by 7 on both sides to get Y equals 30. So another thing we can do, we can use equivalent ratios like this, just as fractions, to find the missing part in fractions or in tables. But the second half of this lesson is going to deal with equivalent ratios and graphs. So again, equivalent ratios and proportional relationships are the same thing. If something is proportional, then they're going to equal the same things. Okay, so this one. The table shows the distance a person walking along a trail has traveled at a constant speed. So my distance in miles is my y, and my time in hours is my x. Plot the 2 points on the table on a coordinate grid. Then use the graph to fill in the missing information in the table. What is the ratio of distance to time? Okay, so the first thing they want is to look at the 2 completed points right there and right there and draw a line. Because remember, all you need to make a line are 2 points. Then they want us to find these missing components in the table. So I can look at my graph and see at 12 miles, I traveled, or this guy traveled, 4 hours. And then I can also see at 5 hours, this guy traveled 15 miles. So I can put 4 and I can put 15. So then my ratio of distance to time, make sure you put your categories in the right place. Distance to time is how you write it, is 3 to 1. 3 miles to 1 hour. Let's try another one. Okay, this graph shows the proportional relationship. So again, we've got our buzzwords. Proportional relationship is going to be equivalent ratios between the number of hours a factory operates and the cost in dollars for the electricity to operate the factory. So based on the graph, what is the ratio of hours to cost? It's so important to make sure that you put your categories on the right sides of the colon. So hours to cost. So the point A that they give me is 6 hours to $60, which written as a fraction would be 6 hours to $60, but I can reduce that, right? 6 is the same as 6 times 1. 60 is the same as 6 times 10. So I can cancel those guys out and get 1 over 10. Trying to make sure that I can get all of my graph into here. Number 1, let's do 1 and 4 together on this page. You keep trying the others, and remember that I have an answer sheet if you want to check your answers. Okay, lemonade is made by combining water with sugar and lemon juice. A recipe calls for 2 cups of sugar, Y, for each gallon of water, X. Which of the following graphs represents this relationship? So, X and Y, remember we write like this. And if I've got 2 cups of sugar, that's going to be in the Y spot. For 1 gallon of water, that's going to be in the X spot. So I am looking for a point, 1, 2, that is going to be on the line. Well, for A, 1, 2 over 1 and up 2 is right there. That's not on the line. For B, over 1 and up 2 is almost on the line, but it's still not there. C, over 1 and up 2, almost on the line, but still not there. D, over 1 and up 2, yes! So I start by taking my information, writing it in as a point, and then finding that point on my line. Let's look at number 4. Luke traveled on a vacation and made this graph to show the relationship between the number of hours driven and the distance from home. Based on the graph, how far from home will Luke be after traveling 12 hours? Well, we can see from the graph that it's proportionate, so we can do some ratios, right? First, if he is traveling distance from home, if he travels 92 miles in 2 hours, right? That's that point right there. I can choose any point on this line that I want. I'm just going to do the first one that comes easily, 92 over 2. And then we're looking for 12 hours. So I've got 92 miles over 2 hours. So on this side, I need to make sure that my miles and my hours stay in the same spots. So instead of 2 hours, I'm looking at 12 hours, right? And what I don't know is how many miles. So all I got to do is cross multiply. 92 times 12 is 1,104. And x times 2 is 2x. Then I divide both sides by 2, and x equals 552. So 92 over 12 is going to be the same as 92 over 2 is going to be the same as 552 over 12. Let's try one more. Let's go to number 6. In a fruit salad, for every 10 pieces of orange, there are 2 pieces of banana. So it is 10 orange to 2 banana. What are the coordinates of the point representing this ratio when there are 50 pieces of banana? So again, orange over banana means I'm going to have orange over, which I don't know, over 50 pieces of banana. So all I have to do is cross multiply. 10 times 50 is 500. 2 times x is 2x. And then I divide by 2. And I get 250 equals x. But it's not just asking me for what x is, right? It wants to know the coordinates. So my coordinates are always x, y, right? And I saw up here that my pieces of orange are x's and my pieces of banana are y's, which is why I labeled that one x. So xy would be 250 for my x value and 50 for my y value. All right, so those are a few practice problems together. You have others that you can do, and Miss Laura has an answer sheet where I've got all of my work worked out for each of the answers, so you can check your answers when you're done with her, or if you have a question on how to do something, ask her to help you, because anytime you can get someone else to explain something to you, it always makes a little bit more sense. So she is there for you to ask questions and to get some help. Please take advantage of the opportunity. Hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you when I get back.